It's a car. Or is it a truck?
I don't know.
It's both.
That's a great question. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Junkyard Digs. Today you join myself, Angus, and this mid-70s Ford Ranchero in a shed somewhere in the middle of Iowa. Our buddy Ben just bought this Ranchero for an absolute song. It's been sitting for a number of years, and Angus and I are going to see if we can pull it out of the shed and put it on the road with everything working reliably in 48 hours.
Like shooting fish in a barrel.
Fish in a barrel. Let's get to it. I'm not gonna lie, I don't think we can even slightly call this a barn find.
No, it's in a barn and it was found, but this thing's really nice.
We are currently over past Boone, Iowa, in Ogden. We got to get it all the way back to the shop. It's about 30 miles back to the shop, give or take. We're gonna see if we can get this sucker fired up, get it over there, clean it up, fix the AC, do all the work on it, and have a perfect cruiser in no more than a weekend. That I think even has a battery and everything in it. Like this, yeah, battery looks brand new. This should crank and maybe even fire.
Battery's 5 years old.
Oh.
2019.
They said it's been sitting since about 2019. So it has been here for 5 years. I don't know if the brakes work. I don't know anything about it. So you got power.
It's super nice. Oh, the seat's really squishy.
Do she crank? Oh, I think it already tried to fire. Pump it a few times. No. It's trying, but it sounds a sad ignition or something. Try it again. That's really weird how it's hitting really randomly. Let me give her a couple pumps. I don't know if we're getting fuel, to be honest. Go ahead. Yeah, I can smell from here. It smells terrible. So I think we're going to need some fuel. Try that, Angus. Try it a little more. Go ahead. It's not flooded. Hit it again. I'm not convinced we don't have some ignition issues. That's acting really weird.
Well, it's got fuel, so we should probably check on spark because it sounds really inconsistent.
Yeah, it's hopping goofy. Our cap and rotor are nice and clean. In fact, very clean, like brand new kind of clean. Angus pointed out, maybe we check firing order.
I've messed that up enough.
I think you're right. That actually sounds about exactly like what it is. Well, upon further inspection, our firing order is correct. We've got our harmonic lined up to 0 way down yonder. We're going to see if that's pointing at the correct terminal.
1 is right here on the cap.
Okay.
And our firing order is right, so it should be pointed roughly to 1.
It's on top of the center right now.
That's not exactly where 1 lives.
No, it's kind of closer to 8, isn't it?
Yeah. Like way closer to 8. So this is 8.
That's about where it's pointing.
Yeah.
So someone might have got them off one thing, although that would be,
so
the engine rotation is that way, which would make that line to be advanced. It would be further uphill, which would put it closer to 8, actually. I think they're off one. It's going to be
in between 8 and 1, so it'd be retarded if we moved them a point.
Exactly.
We could retard the distributor.
I think that's probably
get
the
ourselves
answer.
Closer. The
Yeah.
real question is, do we have room?
The Fords are really tight. So, actually, yes, we do have room on this one.
Okay, perfect.
So, yeah, let's get that loose and see if we can move them a little bit.
I can't see anything.
Yeah, these have horrible access for that. Is it the bolt with the ridges?
Yep.
Yeah. If you get a flat punch, you can get down in there and usually hit it and turn that bolt. All right, found a tire iron. Hey, there she goes. Get into those little castellations on the bolt and just hit it in a circle. It's like they knew what they were doing when they made that bolt. Now for the real fun. Will the distributor turn? Probably not. All right, well, we can't really get our distributor to move, so we're going to change theories.
So our new theory is something that's way more convenient to us. We're thinking fuel.
Angus has got a water bottle set up there. We're going to see what comes out of it. Nothing. So the weird part is I still can't get it to run off the bottle either. Well, we're going to move our plugs on one because we're running out of ideas. So what was 8 is now 1, even though it was in the middle. I don't know. They got a new cap, rotor, points, condenser sitting here, so you never know.
This is pretty much exclusively playing with the ignition timing, so
give it a go. There it is. Yep, it was off one. And it's fixed. Okay. Oh yeah. She sounds good. Real healthy.
Oh yeah. Oil light turns off. Everything's good on the dash.
Okay, we're gonna get this into the light where it's a little less loud. So let's see if we can fire this off the bowls and drive it outside. Yay! Here it is, out in the sunlight for the first time.
It's very shiny.
It is. Oh, she's got a little damage on this side. Still a pretty damn good car. It's really nice inside. The interior is fantastic, which I can probably show now. Yeah, flawless. Let's throw some fuel in the tank, see if maybe it just doesn't have enough in it.
Maybe.
Another gallon in there?
Yep.
Another 2 gallons or so. Yeah, let's see what it does. Still nothing. Alright.
Interesting. Well, I see part of the issue. If the pump works, it's not hooked up to the feed line. It's already disconnected.
Yeah, that would do it. I wonder if someone drained the fuel tank when it was parked.
Could be. Look what magically appeared in my hand. It's part of an air cleaner.
Well, let's hook that up. I bet it works way better. Here's the man of the hour. This is your new merch hauling mobile.
This is a new merch hauling mobile.
Hell yeah. Ben was just talking to me like last week. He's like, man, I would love to find a Ranchero to pile all the boxes of shirts that we have to ship out from the post office, haul them in a Ranchero or an old El Camino or something. I was like, yeah, that would be cool, but where will we ever find a nice affordable one of those? Poof.
And it appeared.
This would be good to haul merch to events too.
It would be great for that, yeah.
Yeah, it's even got a topper, which
makes it perfect.
It is literally perfect for this.
Yes.
So, all right, we got that line hooked up. Let's see what it does. Particularly nothing came out, so looks like we might have tank issues after all, which is probably why it was unplugged.
Well, we can go back to the previous last plan and hook the boat tank up to the pump, see if the pump even works.
Deal, let's do that. All right, alternative plan A3. Hit her. Yep. We got fuel. Okay, pump works. It's a tank or line issue then, so you know what that means.
Cry?
Nope.
Oh, run the boat tank.
Boat tank.
Yay! All right, we got our fuel tank in the bed. Fuel line run up and over the cab, down into the engine bay, hooking up to the fuel filter. Kevin's just hooking up the fuel line to the carburetor again.
She's all good to go.
Sweet.
Our next bet's gonna be whether or not that 2-barrel motorcraft works. Go. Believe it or not, the accelerator pump leaks like a sieve, and the rest of the carburetor is probably not much happier, but it does run. I think at this point we can throw our air cleaner and everything back on, head down to a gas station, fill that up, and start working our way back to the shop. Get ready to transform this thing into a good, reliable daily. Alright, we got everything there buttoned up. One last thing before we go.
Oh, you got fronts.
Yeah, I didn't feel anything in the pedal for the rears.
The rears are dead empty, so they must have weeped down pretty good.
Yep, we'll top him off, and yeah, you know, maybe it'll bleed itself by the time we get back. No, it won't. It needs new wheel cylinders, I'm sure. Alrighty. Right to life. The carburetor might actually run kind of good. And I have no forward gears. It's just low on trans fluid. Alright, found some trans fluid in the shed. Usually when they don't move, they're 2 quarts low, and I got about 1.5 quarts here. Alright, on the road. See what that makes a difference. There we go. Hell yeah. Look at the corn growing. You'll love to see it. Believe it or not, this 73 Ranchero reminds me a ton of the 73 Torino that I used to have that I sold to Dalton, and he's done a couple videos on it. That was a really comfortable car. And this one for a bench seat, honestly, also very comfortable. The topper's a little weird. Not a huge fan of the topper. Oh boy. We kind of have front brakes. I forgot to test that. Also, big old cloud of smoke behind us. This is fine. Everything's fine. Look at the smoke cloud behind this thing. Good Lord. Jesus. That's fine. Everything's fine, I'm sure. It's probably just a giant leak somewhere. The temp gauge moves already, which is both good and bad. Good being, hey, the temp gauge works. Bad being, we've gone 2 blocks and it's up to like the middle. Well, the temp gauge seems to have kind of calmed down and stayed in the middle for now. Either way, here's Casey's. Let's get that boat tank filled up and give her another once over and see if we're gonna live.
Yeah, I didn't need to follow right behind you to figure out where you were in town. I just followed the cloud of smoke.
It's bad.
You're saying it runs bad too?
No, it runs pretty okay. I've done nothing but idle. And it's fully up to temp, but I'm sure it's fine. Get some fuel in it?
Sure.
Yeah. More go juice to offset our lack of stop juice. All right, we're all fueled up. Okay, random back roads because our brakes suck. Ready, begin. Whee! All right, here we go. Open road. And just like that, the alternator light's on. Oh, now it's back off. Never mind, it's fixed. Let's bring her up to speed. Hang on, old tires. Actually, it drives really nice. It's soft, don't get me wrong. It is squishy, but it's pretty good. I didn't even notice it is a GT. Hell yeah. All right, this might be a pretty easy trip to the shop. Let's go. Onward. You know, now that I'm getting comfortable heading down the road and discovering new things, like this sick Napa compass we got going on here, which doesn't work. Yeah, we're going straight west. Interesting. River's up. That was up a lot. They got a lot of flooding going on in western Iowa and Minnesota, so if any of you guys were affected by that, we wish you the best of luck. We're rooting for you. Other news, got quite the wobbly steering wheel that gets really bad when you hit the brakes. Yeah, she's definitely gonna need brake work on all 4 corners. All right, let's get on a little bit. Wow. I thought my Torino was slow. This thing's a whole nother level. My God. It felt like 100 horsepower. Maybe. Holy hell. I bet there's no timing in it. Ah, interesting. Apparently, putting the foot feed on the floor has consequences. I floored it once. We made 85 horsepower and the alternator shut off. Oh my gosh, I think we ran into a tractor ride. Man, it doesn't get much more Iowa summertime than this right here. Cruising old cars and driving around tractors on the back roads. Oh, it's an 88. Yeah, an old 620. Beautiful. All right, onward. All right, here we are. Ada Hayden Park, Ames, Iowa, which is apparently still southwest of wherever we were before. We're also indicating no alternator, a full tank, 53 mile an hour, and temperature. I don't know which one of those to believe. Probably just the speedometer. Regardless, things are going pretty good, so I think we're gonna have no issues whatsoever. Also, I just realized that it's really good throttle response for having a bad accelerator pump. Like, it doesn't care. All right, let's finish this out. We'll see you guys at the shop. Whee! Alrighty. Hell yeah. She did it. She actually did really well.
We weren't that far out of town before it stopped smoking out of the driver's side tailpipe.
Yeah.
Must have had a stuck ring or something.
Yeah, some sticky rings or some
Either
shit all over the
down
motor.
from the valves. What else?
That's one thing fixed. We still, however, have quite the list of things to fix. We've got brake work to do. We have a fuel system that doesn't work. The AM radio doesn't work. We got to do some tuning, and there's no air conditioning. Plenty of stuff for us to knock out on the remaining 43 hours
Oof.
of our 48-hour weekend build. Let's get to it.
All right, we got the car back to the shop. It's up in the air. We know we have a few things that we need to address on this thing before it's ready to hit the road, starting with the brakes. So I'm going to pull all our tires off, and we're going to start digging into those. Okay, looking at these rotors, they definitely need turned. Wheels are out of the way. Time to pull our caliper and pads. Bye. All right, come here, little Mr. Caliper, please. You know what? Come to think of it, these pads look pretty good. We might wind up reusing these. Spindle nut, outer bearing and washer, and there we go. Looks like these have been greased fairly recently. They look to be in pretty good shape, so we'll turn this, replace the wheel seal, and repack the bearings. Onto the back. Let's see if we can remove these drums the way the pioneers did. God, it sounded like I kicked a dog. Oh, that's not good. Huh, yeah, there's parts missing. So, well, looks like we're gonna throw some new hardware in the rear brakes because there's a spring at the bottom of the drum. Ta-da! Yeah, these are filthy and those wheel cylinders are leaky. Now that we've got the drums and the rotors off, we can go ahead and turn those on the Benpack Ranger Famillion.
Yeehaw, rotor time.
Absolutely.
I never mentioned how amazing this machine is and how nice it is to have this.
If I had a count, I would tell you, but yes, you have.
These things were warped to hell, as you can see. And a good old Benpack Ranger combination precision brake lathe is taking care of business. I bet we'll probably have to take 20 thou off these minimum. But that, I mean, that steering wheel was all over the place.
Makes a lot of sense. Half of the rotor glazed, the other half pitted, rusty.
Was
mess.
it?
It was awful.
That was 5,000, so we're just touching it. But nothing full machining pass. Nothing full machining pass. This whole thing is dink.
Generally speaking, that's not what you want.
No, how does that even happen? Holy cow. Well, 10,000 straightening it up, but I can tell you right now, we can see where the pad sat. Well, it was sitting for an amount of time at one point. Yeah, right there. All right, one more pass and that'll be done. I think someone did brakes on this thing pretty recently.
Yeah, the pads that came off are really thick. The shoes, great shape. Hoses, not in great shape.
She could
but
use
the
hoses.
Calipers also look relatively new. Like,
Yeah, they definitely got that
new
light rust. You said one of them was weeping though?
Yeah, the driver's side, it looked like it was weeping.
We'll price them. If they're cheap enough, we'll throw some calipers at it.
Yeah, it's for Ben.
Yeah, it's for Ben.
It's not your dad, but it is Ben.
For the rest of the day, we wrapped up turning the rear drums, and the next morning, Angus got right back to it with the fuel system.
Okay, it's fuel tank time. I pulled the fuel line off, and well, there's nothing really coming out. So this should be well below the level of the fuel. So I went ahead and brought our air line over. I blew a little bit of air into the fill nozzle. No more fuel came out. But then when I took the air off the tank, it had a ton of back pressure and was blowing fuel out the fill cap. That's telling me that something in most likely our sending unit is clogged up. We're just going to pull that sending unit out and see if we can figure out where that clog is. Well, I'd be lying if I said that went really well. Anyhow, this is our fuel sending unit. This is what I believed to be our fuel clog. And looking at the sock on the end here, you can see it's a little gross, but the real question is, can we blow through it and can we draw fuel through it? So, no, we can't. So, either the sock is plugged, which, by the way, I can peel it back and look at the fill hole through the sock itself. It says that's not it. So there's something clogging up our line. So I'm gonna run a piece of wire through, see if I can push anything out. Usually we would just buy a new one. However, we only have a weekend, and the soonest I've been able to find a replacement sending unit for this car is by Tuesday of next week, and that is not soon enough. All right, we got our fuel sender in the vise here. Let's poke this piece of just regular wire down the outlet tube, see if we can find where that clog is. All right, so far, maybe around the first bend. Feels a little like resistance right around this bend. Pulling it out. Yep, looks like right about there, and I don't know how well the camera's gonna pick this up, but yeah, that sucker's rusty. So something's stuck down in there, and it might just be a big old pile of rust and goo. Alright, we've had a bit of a breakthrough. I've been able to blow brake cleaner through the line here. Oh, ew! Just rust and goo and crap coming out of there. Yeah, that was what was causing it, I guess. So yeah, we'll blow a little more brake clean through this line, clear it up a little bit, run a piece of hose cleaner through it, just make sure it's cleaned up and we won't run into any more problems drawing fuel through this tube. Now, since we have the sending unit out of the car, we are going to pop open the rheostat for the fuel level sender. So we all know there's a float attached to a sending unit. Inside the sending unit there's a needle. As the float moves, it changes where the needle is pointing and changes how much resistance this power wire sees. That is translated directly to a gauge, which will then read the ohms off of this and indicate the gauge according to that level of resistance. Okay, so what we were looking at here, this is the needle. This is what moves with your float as your fuel level rises and lowers. This is what's following its way along the coil and telling us our resistance level. Now on the back side of this casing, we can see, aside from all the rust, there's what looks to be a tapered coil all along this edge inside. So as this follower moves along this coil, it's going to read a different amount of resistance. This should always be powered, and this needle will be grounded. So it's making a full circuit, and the level of resistance it takes, the level of voltage it's having to put through, is what forces the gauge to read at the level of the fuel. This looks pretty clean. I'm just going to make sure our contact patch is nice and clean, free of corrosion. And I'm going to put this back together very carefully, and we'll just reinstall it in the car. To make sure that you have a working sending unit, or at least one that's generally sending a signal, we can use a simple multimeter, one probe on each post, and as I move the float, we're going to start seeing that change. And it looks like the more full this tank is, the lower the resistance reading. Now you can look up online what the resistance value for your sending units are supposed to be, and you can base your readings off that. Since we don't have any other choice right now, this is good enough.
With the fuel level sender fixed, we took some time to pressure wash the inside of the tank and then used a fluid extractor to suck out all the chunks and bits that we could. With that done, we reinstalled the fuel sender and called it good. Since we were still waiting on some brake parts, Angus took the initiative and pressure washed the underside of the car, prepping it for rust reformer and paint.
Alright, pressure washing is complete. I am now wet. Let's see how the car turned out. This car is still super solid. All these floors are in really good shape, rockers are in great shape, frame rails are in great shape, everything looks good. This isn't necessary, but if you live in the Midwest and you're worried about a car rusting out and you have an opportunity, absolutely take the time, get under it with a pressure washer. If you've got a friend with a lift, it works really well. If not, getting in the nooks and crannies of the frame, your fender wells, your rockers with a garden hose is huge. Just run it till the water runs clear, and that'll make a big difference.
Oh, good God.
I think you mean good morning.
Yeah, one of those. Finally finished editing the power tour video. It took me like 9 days. Anyway, I can now finally come out and help turn wrenches.
I'm really sad I'm not going to be able to use the hammer as much as I was.
Great. Thank God this isn't my car. Angus has been busy today. He has put new lines in the entire car already.
Except for this one, to the passenger side front.
One more front to do, but he's got a whole new back line. All the way back. New rear brake hose. New rear brake lines. And not the wheel cylinders yet.
Well, no, you said do lines, so I did lines.
Did you hook them up to the old wheel cylinders?
Loosely for alignment.
Yeah, fair enough. I guess I'll start on, well, I don't want to be in your way, so probably wheel cylinders in the rear, eh?
Yeah, classic Junkyard Digs. We're doing brakes. Well. What do we have here? Is Kevin doing science?
I have no idea. All I know is that I realized today, all I know is that today I realized that you can buy Rust-Oleum's Rusty Metal Primer and their flat black 1 gallon paints, the same stuff that we use in the spray cans, in a 1 gallon form. And it's a lot cheaper. Let's see if this works. I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing, to be honest. If it doesn't show. My legs burn like acetone. You gotta love it.
You see, this is why the spray cans are so expensive. It's the convenience of not stripping your floor.
Alright. It's working pretty good. You can kind of just turn the pattern all the way down to like spray paint mode and just blast it up in there. I can't get everywhere I can with a spray paint can, but we can get the majority done a lot faster and a lot cheaper. My dad's probably loving watching this. Me using an actual HVLP gun as if it was a can of spray paint. Alright, once again, there's that. Definitely a lot less paint all over our hands and a lot less money being spent on paint doing it this way. This is actually coming out real nice and thick. I'd say we have a much better coating. We'll definitely come through with some cans and hit some touch-up spots where that paint gun can't get, but we're spending way less money this way than with a can of spray paint. I think so far 2 quarts is done from the back all the way to right here. Let's keep it going. Once everything was primed and dried, we mixed up some flat black and set to spraying. That newer?
I'd say so.
Hell yeah. The underside of the car is now completely cleaned, primed, and sealed.
And rebuilt. Totally.
This is actually a very clean car, so I'm glad we can get in here and help preserve this thing. It looks absolutely fantastic now. I believe we have wheel cylinders and a master cylinder left.
Well, according to the parts I ordered, yes.
All right, let's get back in the swing of things. This is how you do wheel cylinders without removing the brake shoes. This is the easy way to do them. Step 1, remove your upper spring. This one was broken, actually, in this car, so we have an extra one from the shelf. We're going to throw that on there later, but step 2, we'll remove this spring. There we go. Just let him hang or drop it on the floor. Either works. On the GM style, you can just take that upper bar off, but on these Fords, we're going to have to get this adjusting cable out of its groove. Come on. There we go. And then you simply pull the shoes apart. And now you can change out your master cylinder. Just like that. That's all you got to do.
Wheel cylinder.
Wheel cylinder, yes. Thank you. With that being said, I will proceed to take the line off, unbolt this, and we'll bolt the new one in, and we'll be good to go. I will also take this opportunity to take our star wheel off and lube him up. All right, bolts are out. Okay, there's our old cylinder. Very nice. Clean that up. Yeah, looking good. And here's the new one. I'll pull these pins off, clean them up on the wire wheel, get a little anti-seize on there and a couple other hot spots, stick this all together, and we'll be good to go. When your drums, shoes, and hardware is all good, putting new wheel cylinders in is pretty damn easy. Alright. There we go. New wheel cylinders in place. Get this adjusted up, get everything cleaned up, a little brake clean, and then we'll be good to go on the rears. What's left? Reassemble the fronts?
Yep.
Moving right along. With the rears done, we wrapped up everything on the front and then bled up a new master cylinder. I've got some brass fittings and adapters onto the little bleeder kits. Usually the plastics ones suck and they let a lot of air in. Regardless, what you're going to do is pump this until you see no more bubbles right there. As you can see, there's a tiny little shiny dot in the middle of that hole. And that is a bubble. I'm going to come in here and just move this ever so slightly. Just a little bit at a time. And it's going to let a ton of air out until all those bubbles are gone and there's no more shiny dots down in those holes. You don't need to do the full pump. You can, but like, here's, for example, here's a full pump. No air whatsoever. If I just do those tiny bumps, tons of air. Alright, a bunch of big strokes at the end to double check. No more bubbles. Here, I'll trade you.
Oh boy.
There you go.
There you go.
I'll just yoink that. All right, get that bolted down. All new brake system finished. Ta-da! All right, give that a test.
Ooh, that belt feels good.
Hell yeah. All right, brakes are done. We've got straightened rotors and drums. Got the old shoes and pads back on there. They were in great shape. Repacked our bearings. Everything should be good to go. Time to get up here in the engine bay and move on to other things. Oh boy, I'm not gonna lie, I have not been looking forward to this at all because I know exactly what this is gonna entail. GM had much better accessory brackets.
Oh yeah.
These are terrible, especially this York pump on the Fords. You've got 2 bolts here, easy peasy. One bolt here, 2 bolts here. Nope, 2 underneath on the opposite to this. 2 underneath on the opposite to this, 1 in the end.
Well, good luck with that. I'm going to clean the tires because that's critical.
Okay, so as it turns out, that other front bolt on the bottom you can just get straight to from the front. There's a little gap, and the one on the rear, I fought this for a half hour, but if you lift the car or crawl under the car, you can get it from way below with a little bit of a wobble extension. So there we go. Didn't have to take any of the brackets off. Let's slide our pump out and get a new one. Definitely putting these bolts back in. All right, I haven't flipped this over yet, but I saw chunks when I pulled it out of the car. Ooh, look, that's the connecting rod. Holy hell. Talk about blowing up an AC pump. Jesus, I've never seen that before.
I think we can assume that that's at least part of the leak.
Yeah, probably, honestly. That is literally the connecting rod for the pump. These are like a little engine in here, a little single piston motor, and it is completely tossed a rod. All right, well, that's bad. Let's get a new one. While I set to work ordering all the new components we would need to fix the AC pump, Angus removed the carburetor and replaced the power valve and the accelerator pump. Much like Holley's, when the old motorcrafts sit for a while, the rubber diaphragms inside them get stiff and don't love to function. In our case, the accelerator pump was leaking outside the carburetor and the power valve was blown with fuel being on the wrong side of the diaphragm. Alright, Angus has got our carb rebuild going pretty well. Moving into our air conditioning. This is our receiver dryer. This is the old one. This is the component you want to replace when you open up an AC system. There's a desiccant.
Yes.
There's a desiccant in here that accumulates fucking dry
Moisture.
Yes. I think I've been upside down on this thing for a little too long. We're going to replace this guy, and then I'm going to take off as many tubes as I can, preferably all of them, and I'm going to put all new O-rings in there and clean up all the fittings so that we can get the system sealed up. And then we'll show you some magic when it comes to charging it. Time now for the most mystical part of any AC job, figuring out how much oil to put into the new compressor. I've done a little reading online, a little research, and it looks like we need 8 to 12 ounces of oil. And the good thing about a York is that it potentially all goes into the sump right here. And then it's just good. I did finally find one really blurry photo of a good write-up that says to measure everything with a dipstick that you make at home, which I did see that part, and that part does agree. So I just got a little piece of brake line with a perfect bend that happened to be in it, and you get it down past everything, and you pull it out and measure it, and depending on which way it's positioned, that equates into ounces and shit. Yes. Good luck in there. Alright, compressor's on. One last step here that's often overlooked. We're going to put new Schrader valves in. Another thing we did off camera that I didn't mention, because that pump killed itself, I flushed out this system as best as I could. So hopefully this all works. We'll see. We are going to dial in our carburetor and timing before we touch that guy, though. Thankfully, the old 2100 fired up and ran pretty good, and after a little bit of adjustment on the timing, we were able to dial her into 15 degrees initial, play around a bit with the mixer screws, and wound up with a really good running motor that definitely seemed a lot peppier than it was before. Up some AC and go for a drive. See if we're done. It's definitely only been 46 hours so far, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Probably 44.
Yeah, you're right. All right, time for the big secret that is this one. So, last week, if you guys saw the episode with the C10, you saw that we changed the condenser over in that truck to run R134 more efficiently using a parallel flow condenser. It worked fantastic. It still works perfect. You can fire that thing up with a hot engine bay and it'll have cold air in no time whatsoever. That is necessary again because we changed to R134, changed the PAG oil, all that. And this one we've changed to PAG oil, but they don't make a condenser for these cars. It's a lot more of a pain in the ass to get to, so we're going the other route. We went down to Walmart, and by the way, note in advance, you can only buy 2 of these at a time from Walmart, so get them on Amazon, they're a lot cheaper. This is electronics duster. This is a little can of compressed air that you can use to like spray off or blow off keyboards and ECU, PCUs, I don't know, computer reference terms. What matters to us is the fact that this is R152. This is a refrigerant that's non-toxic to the environment and works great in place of R12. All you have to do is change out the mineral oil for PAG 100, in our case with this York pump, throw that straight in, and this will play very well with that R12 condenser. And it's a lot cheaper, 45 bucks. That's like a single can of R12. Now, one thing to keep in mind, this car takes 4 pounds and 8 ounces of R12. This, you want to use a ratio of 0.54. So you're going to take 4 pounds, that's 16 ounces a piece, 4 times 16 plus 8, and then multiply that number by 0.54, and we come out with 38 ounces of this. So 4 cans will be just about spot on. We've already got 12 ounces of PAG oil in that York pump. So now we will take our can piercing tool that we got from O'Reilly's, hook it up to this guy with the adapter, and if we screw up, we might get high as balls. Ready for this?
Yay!
We're good.
Fixed.
All right, fire this sucker up. Actually, first, before we do that, I need to open this, and then you need to purge this line, let all the air out of it.
Whoa!
She's cold.
Dusty. Wee.
All right, fire this sucker up, turn the AC on, let's throw 4 cans in it.
Fire.
Ooh, that sounds good. All right, dumping it in. Wow, that pump does not sound super happy. Let's see if it gets better. It's getting cold already, it's already freezing. Holy shit. Hopefully it starts making less noise as it takes in the fluid. Already seeing some pressure in there, only half full. The pump's pretty noisy. It was a reman, so we'll see. Any cold air? Number 3. 100 on the high side, 40 on the low, 30 on the low. Still a noisy pump. Cold air? Hell yeah. Alright, we got 3 cans in it so far. I think it technically needs 8 ounces. Well, I guess here's the gamble we take on getting reman pumps. Give it a little rev. I might have another rod sticking through the bottom soon. You got cold air though, right?
I'm really cold. It's too bad the fan doesn't blow very hard.
The what?
The fan, it's really weak, but man, the air coming out is really cold. I had the window up and I just started going, it's kind of cold.
Well, shoot, let's hook the fuel system back up properly and take this thing for a drive. Well, it sounds peppery on free rev, so I think our timing change has not done bad. Well, forgot to fill the trans fluid.
Oopies.
Oopies. I also forgot to clean the windshield. Good God.
What did we do on this car?
I don't know.
What have we actually accomplished in this 48 hours, allegedly?
The bottom side is now black. The brakes hopefully work. The AC is about to throw a rod.
Improved.
Here you go, Ben. Here's a finished project. Best we can do. Enjoy. Oh! Alternator light just came back on.
Oh, the wire fell off.
Yeah, that means I revved it hard enough for the fuel wire to fall off the back of it. I guess we gotta crimp that yet. Check your timing, people. You might be leaving a ton of power on the table and efficiency. All right, brake test. They're good. They're straight. Fantastic.
If I wasn't holding this camera, I'd have cartoonishly flown into the dash.
You think she'll squeak them?
Not willingly.
She might. Nope. Sounded like something slid backwards. No, that was fun.
I heard that too.
We're gonna ignore that. Oh yeah. That is a ton better. Like we literally dialed 40 horsepower into this by just giving it 15 degrees of initial. Way better piston punch in the 351 modifieds too, because it actually starts. Just hit a bug. It starts just fine. This ain't bad.
It's not the worst thing we've ever done.
Yeah, especially for 48 hours. It doesn't need a bath yet though, so let's go do that and get it ready to hand back off to Ben as we head to the Good Guys car show in the morning. We'll see you guys then. Well, here it is, all loaded up. We got this thing jam-packed full of shirts and everything that Ben is taking down to the Good Guys today.
Yep.
And then, of course, our first trip to the post office to ship some Junkyard Digs merch. Let's
We're ready to go.
see if we make it.
See how it goes?
The air conditioning already broke.
It already broke. That's all right.
It blew the pump immediately as soon as we turned the cameras off. But yeah, she's all loaded up, oiled up, lubed up, ready to go. Let's do it. Right to life. All right to life.
Like nothing.
Yeah, this is gonna be too easy. Which was the intent from the beginning, was to make it perfect. So minus the air conditioning.
We're almost
there. Yeah. Let's test it.
Let's do it.
Oh yes. Ye old post office. Here you are, sir.
Thank you.
The first delivery. Yay! Yay! We did it! That is one of the two intended purposes of this vehicle proven to be successful. Now for number two, we haul all this shit to Des Moines and sell shirts. Alright, here we go. What's our mileage at?
70,674.
Hell yeah. Probably put 100 miles on today, I bet. That's a pretty good test. Alright, let's hop on the old highway and see what she does. It's not necessary to do a break-in period on your new car, but they do say avoid high speeds for the first 1,000 miles as a level of prudence.
Level of prudence.
I don't even know what that word means. Oh, and don't expect top fuel economy until at least 2,000 miles.
Wow.
Yeah. Gotta get that brand new motor broke in.
I look forward to that.
Well, 15 miles into it. Doing damn good.
Still going.
Hell, is the fuel gauge even move yet?
No.
That either means we've used no fuel or it doesn't work.
Right.
I don't know.
Onward.
Things were going great, so we put the hammer down and headed towards Des Moines. Well, we just missed the rain. Tell you what, it cooled off a lot. Good thing that air conditioning broke. We didn't need it after all. It's plenty cold out.
Yeah, I called this in.
Oh, the rain? Thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Well, the damn alternator light's doing that again. That's weird. Well, we'll keep ignoring that.
Yes.
Moving on. You know, this would be a hell of a power tour vehicle. You have the comfort, the low, the smallness, and the mileage of a car. But you can haul all the shit you've ever wanted like a truck, which is the two reasons to take either of those on power tour in one.
Maybe it'll have to go on power tour.
We could definitely have someone sell shirts. That'll bring some along for that. I think I'll look. I might know someone. Is that El Camino? I think you are obligated to fight that man now. All right, here we are. Good guys. Do you have any idea where we need to go?
Somewhere in this general area.
The fairgrounds?
Somewhere on the fairgrounds, I think.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, at least this thing's doing fantastic on temp and everything. It really doesn't give a crap. And it's comfortable, especially with all this very loud copyright music. Oh man, I love car shows. They're so easy to film at. Let's go find a spot. Welcome to Good Guys, sir. In your own shiny car.
Yeah.
I can't say I've ever even done that before. Well, it's taking stuff to the post office. It's driven us all the way to a car show. Now let's see if we can successfully deliver these shirts through that door. Great success. It runs, it drives, it carries things. Perfect.
Checks all the boxes.
And tax write-off.
Yes.
With our work done, we spent the day enjoying the show. I hung out with the Iowa Street Rod Association guys who were running a shop that was free for people going to the show that needed stuff fixed. I got to work on a couple awesome cars, including the cleanest Riviera I have ever seen in my life. I mean, the underside of this thing looked brand new, and the outside was actually all original. I mean, look under the engine bay. I didn't even know that original battery cables were supposed to look like this. Either way, this thing was beautiful, but the highlight of the weekend for me was I got to work on a truck I originally first saw across a parking lot almost 10 years ago. The Twin 6 powered GMC. The owner was super cool, and this thing is so neat. So if you ever see it at a car show, go check it out. All right, that's a wrap. We brought stuff down, and then we got rid of it.
Yes.
The Ranchero is effective. Let's see if it'll make it all the way home, too. And thank you, Travis, for the awesome stuff. Keep the floor. I did it again. Keep the floor, bitch. KeepTheBitchFloor.com. Awesome merch. All right, onward. With that, we loaded everything up. I hopped into Le Mans, which I had brought down earlier, and we headed back home. And once again, the Ranchero did the drive with absolutely no issues. That thing got a Hemi?
Yes, got a Hemi.
Race to the hill. I don't particularly think it has a Hemi. Look at that. A completely successful trip. The Ranchero did pretty damn good, especially for having definitely thrown it together in 48 hours.
48 hours.
We never said there were 48 consecutive. I mean, 48 hours is 5 work days.
Right.
You gonna do it, burnout? Was that a rolling backwards into a drop?
Oh!
No, not at all. Well, folks, thank you once again for joining us on an episode of Junkyard Digs. This was a fun one. We got to take a car that really wasn't that bad and make it really decent. We still got to fix the AC and a couple other small things, but most importantly, Ben finally has an old car to drive, and it is great at going to the post office and taking shirts to events, and that is exactly what we set out to do. Best way to support the channel is to check out the merch on junkyarddigs.com. Head over to the website, purchase yourself a shirt, a hat, a koozie, sticker, whatever you might like, and it'll probably wind up in the back of this car. I hope you guys had a great 4th of July, and I hope everyone still has all their fingers. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.